Hey, welcome back. It's season 3 of Garage Monologues. My name is Jay Swanson, and you've probably been listening for a while if you haven't already. If you're hearing this or seeing it, it means that you're on the public feed, which means that this episode came out about 6 months ago for my patrons. And if you'd like to get on top of that, if you'd like to see these episodes as they come out, support the show, help me to keep it going, because, it's everything's up in the air this year. There are a lot of big changes coming, but let me know over on patreon.com/JSwanson. You can support the show. You can listen to all the episodes from this season right now. You don't have to wait, or you can continue listening to them as they drop every other week for the next 5 or 6 months. It's the season of becoming French, and there's a lot of cheese that gets eaten in this season. I hope you enjoy it. Swanson.
Welcome to Garage Monologues, Season 3, Episode 7? Maybe? I was actually really excited to jump on and start recording, and I just got back from the gym. I've had a really good day, and then I sat down, and, you kind of crash. We're like, oh, I'm ready to just, take a nap now. Bad timing to start recording. Welcome to this episode of Garage Monologues. There's so much going on, and yet so little it feels like. It's kind of nuts to me. So things are going really well. I don't know if that's the way to start this episode. It is clearly me by myself. I have no news on the citizenship update. I have no news on so many things. But some fun stuff going on behind the scenes. Some challenging things going on behind the scenes. I'm genuinely really excited for this year. I think I've just gone through a really rough couple of weeks, and it has left me feeling kind of stagnant, kind of stuck, kind of I've been struggling. And the irony is that it is one of the better months that I've ever had doing any form of business my entire life. It's really encouraging. It's been cool to see both how the response to Paris in My Pocket as a focus and as a series has really resulted in just some really cool upward momentum across both YouTube and my guide sales and just good interactions. It's been a really rewarding experience so far. Those guide sales going up has been very welcome considering how tight things got at the end of last year and how much of a risk it felt like. I believed in this shift, but man, focusing is hard because I don't know if you struggle with this, and I can get to why the last couple of weeks have been extra challenging, just on personal notes. But it's good to see that it's coming together because focusing is like a real challenge for me in general. I think this is a challenge for a lot of people. When you have a lot of interests, when you have things you want to do for a living that are not easy to do for a living. In my case, like writing fiction, something I absolutely love, something that very few people are going to pay me for, and something that very few people just pay for in general. Same with YouTube. I mean, YouTube has been a struggle on its own, and I've always had to do 4 or 5 things at the same time to make ends meet. I've always had to have multiple jobs. I've always had to work really hard over here to pay for something over here. When I was working as a consultant, that's how I paid for the artwork in Into the Nanton and a lot of the work I was doing then. So I've just always kind of had to juggle a lot of things to stay alive, and that became associated with staying alive to me. And as the opportunity presented itself, and I think honestly, I probably was doing myself a disservice through a lot of that, where I could have really just focused in on one thing and followed that through to the end. I'm in a place now where I've seen, where maybe focusing on fiction wouldn't have gotten me anywhere. Oh, focusing on Paris will get me somewhere, but I refused to do it because I didn't want to be the Paris guy or to fall too far down the tourism rabbit hole. You know all that story. But I finally kind of got over it myself because the problem wasn't those things. The problems were all about being seen. Ultimately, my fear in focus was, and I don't know why. I know a lot of people really struggle to just choose one thing and focus on it. And that can be driven by a number of different fears or insecurities or hopes or whatever. Maybe it's because you like me are scared to get pigeonholed, or you're scared to you don't want to let go of all the different things that you really do enjoy doing, or you're scared of success, or you're scared of failure, or there's a million different things. But I think for me, I went on a podcast this last week, I guess. An acquaintance, a friend, Preeti, she's putting together this podcast for content creators. And something that clicked for me was realizing like how important it was for me to feel seen, because I didn't feel seen by anyone when I was in Spokane through so much of my time in the States trying to figure out what I was doing with myself. When I started vlogging in 2016, a lot of it was just because I really just needed to feel seen. I really needed to feel a sense of validation. And I didn't realize that was part of the journey that I was on. And so the idea of then homing in on a niche and really focusing in didn't match, because for me, the purpose of doing the vlogs was to share my life. It was to share the story of my life, to share where I was going, why, the ups and the downs, the successes, the failures along the way. And letting go of that personal element was scary, because I felt like I would ultimately be hiding myself, and I wouldn't necessarily be putting myself out there in the way that I had needed to in order to survive. And like therapy, with trauma, with all these things that I've been reading up on a lot more recently as well, there are a lot of things that we implement as kids to survive. A lot of self-preservation or defense mechanisms, and those carry on into adulthood. And where they served us as children, they don't serve us anymore as adults. And in a similar way, the vlog as a personal experiment and as something that I really enjoyed doing, and the conversation that I really enjoyed with you, the ability to have an ongoing conversation, put a video out every day, see the comments, internalize that conversation for the next video, and keep that going. It was something really special, and something that still holds a really bright place in my heart. And eventually, obviously, was leading me towards burnout and was not healthy in the best way. And it was something that got me through that period in Spokane, got me through the transition to Paris, got me through the first few years here when I was really finding my feet, or finding my footing. And then I needed to let it go. But as you've seen, if you've been watching me for any period of time, like that period between stopping daily vlogging and figuring out something like Paris in my pocket was a mess. It was an absolute mess for a few years, and it was just all over the place, making all kinds of different things that, were better or worse. Just struggling to figure out what I was doing. And I think a lot of that struggle was just letting go of that need to be seen by an audience, and that need to be understood in all my complexity, Because the reality is nobody's going to understand me in all my complexity. That's part of it. And part of it is that it's not really serving the greater purpose, which is to have, I know that I've had an impact just through the lovely messages and emails and stuff that I've received over the years, and conversations that I've been fortunate to have. But in order to really maximize your impact in the world, you have to focus in on the thing that you have the best chance of being impactful. And for me, that was really, the numbers show whether it's through views or through engagement, whatever, that there's a real chance to give people, a better time in Paris. There's a real chance to alleviate a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety around traveling. There's a great opportunity to act as a bridge between cultures. There's a lot of really cool stuff that I can do if I just focus in on that one element of what I do. It just took me a really long time to accept that. And I was really scared, I think, to succeed in that arena. I am actually really, it's interesting. I kind of had to wrestle with it the last couple of weeks, seeing how things are starting to go really well, and how that actually made me not feel great. I was looking at it, I was like, I will celebrate this. I will choose to celebrate this. I found some ways to do so, but I also was looking at how things were ticking up and just actually felt kind of numb or sad, which surprised me. Not entirely related to that. There's a lot of other stuff going on. I had kind of a breakthrough, I guess you'd say. It sounds cliche, but I had a bit of a breakthrough in therapy a couple weeks ago, and really realized that I've been keeping my therapist at bay for a while. And in reality, I do that with a lot of people in my life. Thankfully, I'm getting much better at it. And I've got some really good close friendships, but the process of going through some of that, and some of the things that I ended up being able to voice for the first time and share with her, wrecked me for the week. I had a migraine for like 2 days, and actually the trash video, the like is Paris safe video that I just put out, brought that migraine right back. In the process of filming, I ended that video with a migraine really screeching into my head, and just really struggled to function as a human being for a couple weeks there. Obviously went through the motions and managed okay. Like, Cooper's healthy. I'm fine. Everything's actually good. But it was a really difficult couple of weeks. And that coincided with really feeling like, oh my gosh, like I think this strategy that I've chosen, I think this path that I've chosen with my YouTube channel, I think it might be the right thing. I think it might actually be going somewhere. And it really has to, considering that like got to pay for software development and stuff here. But, I think I'm learning so much about myself, and I'm trying so hard. That was actually one of the key realizations from just this last like couple of weeks too. I think what I needed when I was vlogging, and that I don't know what I need now in this arena, but I realized I was really struggling, like I said, the last couple of weeks, and I was just thinking, man, life is so hard, and like I'm trying so hard, both personally to grow and develop into like a functioning human being, across the board. I'm trying so hard to build a business. I'm trying so hard to support the people around me, to be a good friend, to be a good family member. I'm just trying so hard, and it seems like, especially living in France, multiplies this, but it feels like every time I try to do the right thing or I try to put in the extra effort, I just get kicked in the nuts again for it. And that happened a couple times this week, and it's hard. And then I look at the world around me, both here in Paris and elsewhere, and I think, man, like everybody's working so hard. Not everyone, obviously. There's some people that don't work that hard, I guess, but I just feel like life is hard for everyone, and like some people are just barely making it. Some people are doing well but have other problems, and for me it's like I look at like how hard I've been trying for so long, just like I have a lot of compassion for my past self, even if I was kind of an idiot about how I went about things. But like I finally feel like maybe I have a chance to earn a little bit of like grown-up money. I'm so grateful for this apartment that I have, because without it I would not have been able to start over. I literally started my life over again. Whether or not you're aware of the story, and if you want to know more about my background and the story of getting here and the actual struggle of getting here, my book Sea of the Unknown, which is available over on Amazon in paperback and Kindle and audiobook. I read it for Audible as well. Like I continually just threw myself at whatever opportunity I believed in, took every risk I could, and fell flat on my face, to the point that I went bankrupt shortly after I moved here, because I had overextended myself and was just paying all of my money into basically debt, and it was just paying off interest. And if it hadn't been for this apartment and for my landlady's generosity, I wouldn't have been able to start over here. I don't know what I would have done. I would have been really, really stuck. And then to just grind it out here for another 5 or 6 years, to get to a point where I'm like, oh, like maybe I'm going to start I could maybe make a salary that would look similar to what like my peers who took stable jobs out of college, or, like whatever. I might be able to actually start saving. I might have a chance at, I don't know how, we have yet to find out if this is going to be the case or not, but maybe I have a chance at actually buying the Paris apartment that I dream of before I turn 40, maybe. It all feels very late to the game. It's challenging. And I realize this is like a generational struggle, right? Like we millennials got a rough deal. I think the Zoomers might have a rougher deal coming their way. But just like, I guess it's also then I start to feel kind of guilty, because I'm like, well, if I can actually finally drag myself out of the hole that I half dug for myself and half was already there for me, I made it worse at times for sure. What about the people that can't, and what about the people that are still going to be struggling? And I don't know. I think about that a lot. I think a lot about how I've been thinking a lot this last week about how life is just really difficult, no matter who you are. And even no matter how good it looks from the outside, no matter how good it can objectively be, even from the inside, how you never know what people are struggling with. You never know what might be dragging them down or what might be really, really pulling on them. And they might not even be aware of it. I mean, there's stuff that I'm finally putting together that, you think, man, I should have seen this a decade ago. But now I'm just figuring it out. And so that's how I know I also have a lot of work ahead of me to get to a much happier and healthier place. And thankfully, there is a chance of getting healthier. There's a chance of actually growing and being able to connect the way that I want to connect, and to, I think, slow down and really appreciate life while I have it, because life's short. It's not going to be here forever. And I want to make sure that I just stop and smell the roses from time to time, to put it in a delightful little cliche. But yeah, it's been a really rough couple of weeks. And I think I'm coming out of it. I think the last couple of days I've actually been kind of coming out of it. My energy levels aren't fully there yet, but that's okay. Like, I'm going to be okay. I think that's the other thing that I keep reminding myself, like, I'm going to be okay. It's going to be fine. There's a lot that I could unpack in all of that. There's a lot more that I could say, I suppose, but I guess I can leave it at that. I think that the main thing is that no matter how hard things get, which they're always hard. I mean, I think there are moments there. I've had some moments in the last year where I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm glad I did. I hadn't thought about this until right now while I'm saying this, but there were a couple of moments last month, I think, where I literally just felt like, wow, things are going great. I'm really excited for what's coming. I'm so grateful for what I have and where I'm at. And I'm going to enjoy that. Like, in the past, I would have shut that down to some degree, because I would have been worried that by enjoying this, it's almost like superstitious. Like, if I enjoy this, the universe is going to take it away from me, or, just not allowing myself to enjoy things or to feel good about myself, to feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually doing a good job. And so I actively in that moment was like, nope, I'm going to really enjoy my success right now. Like, that, I feel like I'm just feeling good. I'm feeling on top of the world, and I'm just going to walk like it, and I'm going to enjoy it, because it's not going to last. And I was right about that, and it didn't last, but I'm really grateful that I did take the time to really enjoy it. And that's kind of what I want to get back to more than anything, is like, okay, like, life's hard. No matter what, it's hard. So how do I acknowledge that and do what I can to alleviate the pain that I'm going through? How do I continue to work towards a future where I carry much less pain with me all the time, and then just enjoy the moments along the way? So I've been doing that by the answers to that, for some practical tips on alleviating pain in a healthy and helpful way, mostly healthy. I'm sure some of it's questionable, but friends, spending time with friends, getting out of this tiny apartment, because as much as I'm grateful for it, I actually am starting to go a little bit crazy in here. I spent all of lockdown in this, 140 square feet, I think. Very grateful for it. Actually did very well through it. Generally, I'm fine in here, but I'm starting to feel a little bit itchy, to be honest. Cooper does much better with more space. Whenever I take him anywhere that there's more space to run around, he just naturally plays by himself better. And, there's just and I feel better too. Like, it's nice to be able to breathe. You can't see it behind me as my laundry drying, literally right there. I don't know if you can hear me hitting the rack. I'm wedged between my couch and my bed. Things are just lightly a mess, which is, on and off normal. I try to keep it clean in here, but it's always a battle. And I'm just ready for some changes. I'm ready for changes. And I'm getting away from the practical tips, I realize, but I'm just kind of as I process this out, hey, it's a garage monologue. I'm monologuing. As I think about all this, I'm ready. I am ready to make some changes. I don't have a timeline for that, and I don't know exactly what it will look like. But I'm ready to make some changes. And part of me wants, I'm going to stay in here because this is such a great deal. I'm so grateful for it. And my hope is that if I can actually start to save, maybe I can start saving to buy something. Which sounds so ludicrously out of reach, but my hope is that we're on track to maybe be able to do that in the next couple of years, I hope. But then part of it's just getting out and like getting back to that life. I used to have this lifestyle that was, very much, I was always out. I was always out in the city. I was always doing something. And I've had to step away from that for a variety of reasons, but trying to get back to it, like recognizing that I have some anxieties around being out all the time. Daily vlogging actually left me with a lot of like really weird, body level anxieties where like it just burned me out so hard, was so rough on me that like there are elements of my job that are fun and I should enjoy, but I'm so apprehensive to get into, and it's not until I'm actually doing it that I'm like, oh yeah, I love this. This is fun. So working against that, but spending time with friends, like just making sure that I ping people when I'm in their neighborhood, when I'm near where they live or where they work. And it's amazing how often actually I'm able to meet up with somebody for a drink or a coffee or whatever. Going out for some drinks has been actually very helpful. Just being able to go out, relax. It's amazing how like just a beer or two can help take the edge off when you're really feeling like garbage. And then spending some time with the right friends, even if you feel horrible. This weekend, I was finally starting to come out of my funk, and I started the day with one group of friends, coffee, lunch, and then passed myself off to another group of friends for afternoon drinks. And then we ate something, and then we had some more drinks. And I was miserable at the beginning. Like, I think I was complaining a fair amount. Hopefully I wasn't a pain, but I was complaining a little bit about like, whatever. Often Cooper is the recipient of my complaints. He's a mirror. If I'm annoyed with Cooper, something's wrong with me, as a good rule of thumb. And then by the end of the day, I was still sad or just like, ugh, but felt much better, and I slept so well. And then I woke up the next day tired, but notably a step in the right direction, towards being a little bit happier and a little bit less, whatever that feeling is. And it's been a progress up and out of that. And I mean, a lot of this was inflicted just by like that therapy session last week. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. Going to talk to her about that. And well, this is coming out the day that I'll be in there. So hopefully I exit it not quite so crushed, which would be good. Although I'm willing to go through it because I think it's going to take me to where I need to go. So friends, some good drinks, good friends, good drinks, good conversations, just getting out of my own space and spending some time with people. Exercise has been huge. Getting back into that rhythm. Again, it's been hard to motivate myself, like especially in the mornings, but getting myself up, taking Cooper out to go to the bathroom, putting him back in his kennel, and then going for a run, getting to the gym, just working it out, even though I'm miserable in the gym, bored and just over it and just like, what am I doing here? Just using my body has been hugely beneficial. Getting off Twitter has been helpful. I'm barely on it. I check it maybe once a week, not even anymore. I might just up and delete my account at some point because I find that Twitter just makes me feel bad. There are some amazing things on there, great art, GIFs, cat memes, whatever. Can't handle it. I mean, it always ends up sucking me into something I really don't want to engage with. So I might just get rid of it entirely. I'm spending as little time on Instagram as possible. It's not even in my top 3 apps. I am reading a lot more. I've already finished something like 12 or 13 books in 2023, which is more than I read last year. I just finished another one today on relationships. Reading one on AI. I'm reading a few on trauma and therapy and learning a lot. And actually that's how I had kind of my breakthrough with my therapist. Was I realized how like people that are in therapy in these books that I'm reading have really good relationships with their therapists and really let them in at some point. And a lot of them don't let them in for a long time. And I was like, I think I'm doing that. I think I got something for a while. Now I'm not. And that's because I'm not letting her closer to me. And I am terrified of that. So let's engage with that. So reading the books has been really, really beneficial. The AI stuff, kind of scary, very important. I'm learning a lot. I would not declare myself totally ignorant to the AI world, but and I've read like Mana and some other books way back in the day. I feel like I have a general understanding, but like a very layperson's understanding. But diving deeper into that is definitely eye-opening. So I did have to take a break from Lindsay when I was feeling peak miserable. Thankfully, Lindsay gave me a call and made me promise not to read any more of those books for a day or two. And that was good timing because I was reading some really very good stuff that I needed to read, but it was making me much worse. So I did take a break from that for a minute. Mindless movies, watching some movies that are fun that I know how they go. I rewatched Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame because they are, even though they're superhero movies, I felt like they were really well done. There's a good emotional connection and they're fun. However, I also can just kind of like blank out to some degree while watching them and nothing too involved. That was really helpful. Like sitting, just watching one of those and going to bed and sleeping for like 9 hours is magical. So lots of sleep. So those are some things that I've been doing that have been really helpful. A whole lot of those things. And I think I haven't been very good. I think a lot of people would say that they're not good at this. I'm not alone, but I've not been as good at actively organizing friends and pulling people together and maximizing my relationship time as I could be. That's been the case for a while, and that's changing. I've made efforts to wrangle friends together for dinner or drinks or coffee, a walk or whatever. I have other plans and hopes for that, but I think just trying to home in on that small group of people in my life that always make me feel better about everything. Like I need to make sure that they take a place of importance in my life that reflects how important they are to me. And so making some real efforts to do that, whether that's taking whatever excuse I can to gather them, planning stuff for my birthday well in advance. Yeah. And then the thing that I was really excited about, and you won't come as a surprise if you've been following for a long time, but I was finally going to get a car. It was really exciting. I was really excited. And I found this really great deal with Volvo because I want to get an electric car. Like if I'm going to do it, I want to get an electric. But that means I don't want to buy one because the resale value on them is brutal. I'm not really interested in doing a lease for some of the reasons. And I found a subscription plan. I canceled Netflix so that I could subscribe to a car. But I found they had this really great subscription plan, which also shortcuts you to the front of the line for getting a car, because getting an electric car or almost any car in Europe right now, apparently it's a 6 to 9 month wait. So I was going to be able to get a car immediately. But they didn't have my most recent numbers, and they were like, yeah, we don't trust that you're going to be able to pay for this. And it's like, I can afford it. I swear I can pay for it. So very last minute, they were like, actually, we're not going to do this. It was really disappointing. That news came when I was already feeling horrible. And then I was like, that was the light at the end of the tunnel where I was like, oh, I'm going to get to, at least if nothing else, I'll have an electric car. It's very, like it's affordable. My business is going to pay for it. So it's a write-off, and I have everything worked out. And I'm like, I don't have to justify it for myself. Like I deserve to have something nice and to have some freedom. And I'm not going to drive around Paris, but the whole goal is just to throw Cooper in the car and drive out to somewhere in nature, to some village, to wherever, go to the beach, like drive all the way up to Normandy and just escape and relax. Because often Paris for me can really just feel like work all the time, because no matter where I go, I'm evaluating, like, should I recommend this? Should I show people this? Should I whatever? So it's just nice to get out. Very excited. And then they're like, actually, no. I'd already signed all the paperwork. I'd already gone through everything. I thought everything was solid and done. I put in hours and hours and hours of work in cleaning out the garage, because you may know that I have access to my landlady's garage. It's where I park my bike, which is a huge benefit. That's a massive expense that's cut out. Like, the stars had aligned, and I was going to get not the car of my dreams, but a model off. And then the cool thing about this subscription plan is we were able to order a new car. So that new car will come, and then I'll swap and no problems, just move into the new car. Super excited for it. And then they said no. And I was so sad. I was so disappointed. And I was just like, it wasn't even about the car, but I just felt, I still feel sad about it. I was just like crushed about it. And I just want a little bit of something nice. I just want to be able to go for a drive. And it was so nice when we took it for a test drive. Pushan and I took it for a test drive a couple weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And just getting out and driving just feels so good. It's something, I haven't owned a car since 2010. Not to say I haven't driven. I miss my Land Rovers from when I lived in West Africa. I really wish I could have a Land Rover, but I'm not buying a diesel. Man, I miss the Land Rovers so much. But yeah, that was a hit. So that's something I'm trying to do for myself, and also a way that I can wrangle my friends into little adventures and, help people move occasionally, and hopefully, that's a very limited offer. But help people move a little bit, and just go to the beach, just get out of town, road trip a little bit, and then maybe make some road tripping videos. Because that was the whole plan for the road to citizenship, right? Like, this theme of my road to citizenship was supposed to center around road tripping around France, exploring the country, getting to know it better in time for me to get my citizenship. And I don't know. I mean, as you know, we've been talking about it since I got my license. Like, it's almost been 2 years that I've been just like actively trying to figure out how to get a car. Had to wait because things got really rough. The French government tried to undo me. I managed to bounce back. Things are starting to look okay. It's like, all right, maybe now I can do this. And now we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to or not. But I hadn't talked about it publicly because I was like, well, I'll share it when it's happened. And now we know why. So we'll see. Maybe it won't happen anytime soon. Maybe I'll have to wait, another year for a car. And that's okay. But that was sad. That was rough. So all that to say that wherever you are, I hope you're having a great time. I hope nobody listening to this is them. I hope everybody tuned out and quit listening to this just because they're like, my life's great. I don't need to hear that Jay's not doing great, and just went on with their day. But for those of you that are struggling, I hope that you can lean on a friend, go have a drink. If you don't drink, go play baccarat, whatever you're into. Just have some time. I think it's really valuable to think, reflect, to ask ourselves what's actually going on and how we can engage with it. But it's also valuable at times to just distract ourselves with the people that we love, with things we enjoy, and to be good to ourselves and to try and do nice things for ourselves. And even if, again, French bureaucracy gets in the way of doing nice things for yourself, you can try again next week. I'm trying again right now, I guess. And just see where things leave you. But yeah, I'm feeling hopeful. I'm feeling good. And I think, honestly, give it another couple days, I think I'll be right as rain and ready to roll again. My dad's coming for a visit. He should be the next guest on the podcast. And then I'm going to go walk the Camino with him is the plan. Part of it, I can't leave for the full 3 weeks, but I will be going for a good portion of it is my plan. And leaving Cooper behind. It's way too far for him to walk every day, as athletic as he may think he is, as athletic as he may be. Probably shouldn't do that to him. But there's a lot of great stuff coming up, a lot of good adventures, good conversations to be had, and lots of cool videos to make, fun things to remake, and good updates coming soon, hopefully, for the guide and its evolution into a web app, and then eventually, maybe one day, a native app. You can have it in the App Store. We'll see if we get there, when we get there. That's very exciting. Thank you for listening. Thanks for being there. Thanks to my patrons for making this possible. You're the only ones listening to this when I'm actually feeling this way. Hopefully I'm not feeling this way when this comes out publicly in 6 months. But that was the other housekeeping item I was going to say, was that I also think I'm only going to do one season of the podcast per year moving forward. We'll figure this out. But I realized I did the same thing to myself. I always do, which is I'm like, I'll do seasons and then I'll take breaks. And then I'm like, it's not really a break. I'll just keep making podcasts. And so I think speaking of being kind to myself, might slow it down to just one season per year. So we might take a hiatus for the rest of the year on the podcast once this season is over, but I will, I will play that by ear, but just even saying that out loud, yeah, what am I doing? Why do I do these things to myself? Unless you have any very, very loud objections, to that, I think I'll probably just plan on doing that, and wanted to forewarn you, and we'll talk about it again in the future. But, before that happens, got to finish eating all the French cheeses, and my dad's going to help me wrap most of that out here pretty soon. So looking forward to sharing that with you. Looking forward to sharing more of Paris with you, more of France with you. So much cool, fun, exciting stuff to come in the very near but also distant future. Honestly, life is beautiful, and I don't always feel that way. I definitely have my down moments, but I'm feeling really excited for what's to come. So hope you'll stick around and enjoy it with me. And until then, have a great week. Have a great weekend. And see you in a couple weeks.